Dun, 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 dun. It's Crypto Night in Canada. Yay! How
Hey,
you doing,
everybody.
Candace?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good. It's Wednesday night.
It is. It totally is. Day went by really fast. I had so much to do today. So,
Yeah, I saw your Facebook message that you got a lot done in a very short period of time. This is, it's awesome. You know, it doesn't feel like any time flies by at all. We go from Wednesday and then I think, oh, it's a long time till the next Wednesday. And here we are again.
oh, wow. Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's been a very busy day. It's like I got up at 6:30. I had a shower, dried my hair, came downstairs, filmed a video, then filmed 5 shorts. Then, after I did that, I also put up a short that I had filmed the previous Thursday. Then I edited the video, like today's video, and I got that up. Then I made a video specifically for this show, sort of a clip from my Metaverse journey on Sunday night.
Yep.
And then I did up all the Metaverse charts for tonight. And then I looked at the clock and it was 7:45.
My gosh, that is a lot of stuff. Well, I can't wait to actually see what you did with your video. Just wanted to take a second to say hi to everybody. Jason's in the house, and Riley and Apollo and Sandra and Sophie and Delge. It's great to have you here tonight. I think tonight, for a change, Grady's in the house. Hi, Grady. And MC Marie Claude is here. I thought tonight would start off with Genuine and Windsor's in the house. But let's start off with the Metaverse, because I know we kind of sometimes that gets lost in our conversation. So let's start with you tonight, Candace. And I'm sure that the other gents will be along in post haste. So again, the Metaverse, everybody, brought to you by Mountain Finance.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to actually start with a little video from my Twitch stream on Sunday nights. So just so you guys know, every Sunday night, I will be live streaming on Twitch something to do with the Metaverse. Actually, it looks like next week it's going to be Sandbox. So nice. This week it was something called Defy Land. So DFL. Let's take a look at that little adventure, shall we?
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, everybody, welcome to our Metaverse stream. So here it is, Defy Land. So this is an agricultural game, so it may not be the most exciting. Let's click on play, see what we get. Start to load. This may be a game that's not right for my Let's see what happens. Because maybe this time where we have it's in the beta. Holy banana, I did not know that. Choose your team. Hey, I wanted to choose my team. So that DFL is your that's your token Metaverse. So I guess it's like a screenshot, maybe. Yeah, screenshot. Farm invaders ready to play. Okay. On the maps. Oh, well, that's interesting. Maybe this is us getting into that tonight. Garden game. Make it look like it's interesting. Okay, so let's see what that does. I can move a little better. Okay, so changing that resolution a bit did help us. Oh, a memory game. All right, we got an app. Another 4 cards. I don't. Oh, they're not right this time. Let's click on it and see. What? Holy banana bread. I guess we have to keep a minute data. Hopefully, I still get my points. Let me in. All right. It's being a buggy game. They should call it DeFi Buggy Game. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have questions.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Lots of questions. But maybe we'll add Mr. Ken to the stream. Welcome, the freaking Oracle. How are you tonight?
Very good. How you guys doing?
Good. Maybe we'll pull this down, Candace's video down.
Yeah.
Well, are you
pull that down?
Here, Tim can.
I'll just remove it from there, so it's I've still got it on my end.
Okay, perfect.
So, okay, question for you on this. So where did you go to get into DeFi Land? did you? Because I
What?
noticed in that you had a wallet. You had to download a wallet. Like, so walk us through. Where did you go? How did you get into
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. So when I decided that I would do DeFi Land, I went over to Coin Market Cap, or no, actually it was CoinGecko. CoinGecko, I brought up the coin, so I just did a search on DFL, and then in the little write up on that you get on each coin, it has their website. So I then went to their website. I then attempted to sign up. And of course, once I did that, it took a while just to get to a page where I could sign in. And then that page was lagging. So it was taking me forever just to enter in my passwords for my username. Then it finally said, oh, you have to hook up a wallet. I said, okay. So I picked one of the options. I signed up for that wallet. I came back. That wallet wouldn't even work. So then I had to go to another wallet and I had to sign up for that. And then I came back. And even though it's supposed to be free to play, they're like, well, we need a tiny bit of Solano. So then I had to go over to Kraken, get some Solano, send the Solano back to that wallet, and then I was able to get in. But worse, once I got in, everything was buggy. It took forever just to move. The game I wanted to play, I couldn't even play. Then it crashed. Then came back in, finally found one game I could play, which was the memory game. And I was just playing along at that, and then it crashed, and I lost the points because even though I made it to level 4, it was painful turning these cards because it took forever with the lag. So in total, that whole video happened over a 2-hour period with me and, well, I had 2 viewers because I don't think too many people even knew I was over there. So yeah, it was just one of those nights where it was like, holy banana bread. Actually, yeah, it was Verena. Verena was there. She was there for the whole pain. She was a trooper. She like quite literally stuck it out through all of that pain. It's like, you know.
Oh, well, okay. Just on the surface, the graphics look very similar to what you saw in Farmville, the old Farmville. So on that level, it looked kind of fun and easy to use, and I could see how you could move along, you know, and start to build something there. But all the rest of it, wow, that's unfortunate. And
Yeah. Well, I honestly didn't know it was in a beta. Like there was nothing that told me that it was still in beta. So it definitely looked a little bit janky and just the way it was working. So it's like they need to put some money into some RAM.
right,
Because
right.
even when I went in, at one point you saw in the middle of the video, I went in and turned down all of their main settings for resolution and stuff. It helped a tiny bit, but it was quite literally Farmville did work better and was more fun
Yeah.
than this. So I wouldn't recommend it. But at least I was able to make a goofy little video thanks to 2 hours of
I know. I know. It did. Well, I know we appreciate you showing us because this whole thing about the metaverse is I'm very interested in it, but again, very difficult to know where to put your attention on any of it because it like things like that just seems goofy right now to spend any time doing like playing with something like that.
But also keep in mind too, that was just the first game that I happened to touch. I may have just accidentally, you know how you reach in and you grab that one apple that has the worm in it? I may have just done that. Interesting enough, when I was doing the stats tonight for the metaverse, I looked at that coin and it was down 75% in the last.
Whoa.
Oh, well, because if people are playing it, they're feeling what you're feeling, obviously.
I'm thinking if people started playing it and they saw that and they're like, yeah, I'm selling this position right away. So
yeah. So speaking of that, are you able to do the metaverse stuff like now? And then we'll get that, and then we'll.
I can absolutely. I'll just bring it up. Oh, there we go. And Tim has shared it. So just give me a second here. Let me just get. Boom.
Yeah, and Scott DeRosa just said there are better free-to-play options for play-to-earn games. It's so true. And these guys are going to struggle with all of that if they don't get a handle on it.
Whoops. This thing is just out of control.
It's got a mind of its own.
It really does. All right. So you guys
personally, you never can lose with a concrete wall and a ball.
That's true. That's true. Good old kickball.
Well, things always bounce back at you, right? So I mean,
Geez.
Exactly, exactly. But I know my luck. I'll hit the ball against the wall and it'll bounce back and give me a black eye.
No, you know what? A little quick story. Our young guy, only child, so the side of the house, big brick wall. No one ever told me that a freaking Indian rubber ball goes like stink when it hits the doink. It's like, oh,
Oh.
That
We used
those
to-
ping
probably.
pong balls after that.
Hey,
Nerf
listen,
balls.
we used to play all kinds of games with just on the side of the
Yeah,
wall.
but all I wanted was a freaking game of catch with myself, not a self-sacrifice.
No, you know what? Honestly, there was a thing growing
Candace
up.
has a thing to do.
I know. There was a thing growing up where you used to put a ball in a pair of pantyhose and then you flick it, you'd stand against the wall and you'd flick the ball, da 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 da.
Was Prince Andrew around?
Let's not talk about Prince
Okay,
Andrew.
sorry.
Anyways, we'll move on. It's your time to shine, the top 10 metaverse.
All right, absolutely. So this week's a lot better, I think, than the last week. For one, we've actually got some movement in the market. Things are looking brighter, and there's been a lot of changes in the charts, both for the coins and the stocks.
Okay.
So returning back into our top 10 this week, we got Starlink once again. So we've covered these guys before, but they are basically a space-based metaverse. Same idea. You've got NFTs, you've got satellites, living modules, all of that fun stuff, different ways that you can create passive income and sell the NFTs. Now, these guys, and we're at number 10, they were up 11.4% over the week. So you're going to see a lot of these. I don't think a single one is in the negatives this week in our charts. Number 9, we got Engine finally coming back. They were only out for 1 week. And I think it's the only week they've ever been out. But they were up 6.5%. So, and I'm still very bullish on Engine. That happens to be the coin I am holding for the DCA challenge for this channel. Number 8, they fell from number 3 last week. Okay, so I lied. There was a negative. Here's the negative, negative 1.2. It's that Avogotchi, the one that's built off of the Tamagotchi. So that could be interesting to look at.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not as blocky as DFL.
I wonder, do you know on that one, Candace, whether they're going to have the actual little devices attached to this as well with that? Like, are they going to try to marry physical with metaverse on that one, do you think?
I don't know, but one of the ones a little bit later in the countdown could provide a solution to them if they decided to do that.
Okay.
So there's a couple of interesting things. All right, so number 7 is Axie Infinity. They are back. This was one of the games. Like, I actually, for next week, I put a poll up on my website, on my page of Facebook, saying, do you want me to pay this or the sandbox? It looks like the sandbox is winning.
Yes.
But,
Yay.
it would have been either or.
I know, but maybe you could do this one in the following week.
Well, it depends. I mean, if I get right into the sandbox and if everybody wants me to continue, I'll give everybody the option. It'll be like after the end of next Sunday night, I'll just say, hey, do I continue with the sandbox or do I play? And I'll give them 2 choices, this game or this game. But it'll be kind of cool. So Axie Infinity back up again in the charts again, up 9.3%. Number 6, this is a brand new one for our chart. It's the Boson Protocol. Now, these guys, their specialty is connecting the metaverse to real-world commerce.
Okay.
So they have a mechanism that enables, and this is the one I was talking about, that you can basically trade physical products for on-chain value by tokenizing a commitment in an NFT. So let's say with that Tamagotchi game, if they wanted to say create a Tamagotchi that you could get with the game, they could sort of do it through the Boson protocol.
I'm interested in this one. I'm really interested in this one. I wonder, have they listed any sorts of physical products that they're looking about, or can anything go there? Can you do a toaster? Well,
you could do anything. I mean, it's any.
They did that last week and got burned.
Wow, that joke was just a slice.
Oh my goodness, the dad jokes are just zinging past. But I'd be very interested on whether or not they want something that's like a unique thing, like a watch, or whether whether any item
From the
like
research I looked at, it looked like you could basically tie anything.
Wow.
So if you
Interesting.
have a game and you want, let's say you want an action figure to go with, your avatar, they could tie it through an NFT through a Boson protocol to do that.
Ooh, that's that idea I had.
What idea?
Well, we're not going to
Which
talk
one?
about it now. Shh, shh, shh.
That's that Nancy doll with the string on the back. You pull it,
Yeah.
the string takes forever.
No. It's a Tim doll. You see, I sometimes my lips never move.
Anyway, that's the Boson protocol, and I really like the look of what they're doing. I think it's got some really practical applications to this one. They were up 19.8%. So a lot of people I think agreed with me on that.
Yeah.
All right, number 5, Museum of Crypto Art. They moved up from 10 last week. They were up a whole whopping 23.3%. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, coming back at number 4 is Render Token. They were up 17.5%. Now, the last time they were on the chart, Ryan had brought up that, are they sort of treading on the same ground as another certain Theta token? And they kind of do the same thing slightly differently, but they do the same thing. And I did a lot of research and I looked at quite a bunch of different pages and even some YouTube videos on this one. And there's never been any real conflict between them. Sort of like if you have a shoe store and somebody else has a shoe store, you can't say, sorry, you can't have this because I already sell shoes.
Right. Yeah. No, the thing is with Theta, though, Theta uses part of your GPU. It also uses part of your CPU, part of your hard drive, and part of your bandwidth.
Yeah. See, and these guys are just using the GPU. So they are different. Now, keep in mind, Theta is much bigger. They have a bigger market cap. They've been around a lot longer. So this is just more or less competition for them. And people seem to like Render right now because it was up 17.5%. All right, number 3, another one of our brand new ones is called Genesis Worlds. So basically, this here is a game of exploration. You have lots of unique worlds within it. Each world is created by a group of people who have similar interests. So, for example, there might be a unicorn world or a unicorn planet where everybody likes unicorns. I mean, it can be whatever they want. This one's also built on Polygon, so it's definitely interesting. And it's play to earn, so you can farm, mine, stake. There's lots of different ways to make money and different ways with your land, you can set it up to gain a passive income from it. So I think it's a pretty cool idea. And it was up 27.6%.
That's nuts.
I know. All right. Mana, who was the number 1 last week, actually fell to number 2. They were still up 18%, though. So I know they're a channel favorite, but who could have knocked Mana out of first place? Everybody right now is thinking Magic.
No, I bet you it's Taiwan Semiconductors.
No, that's the stock side. It's Spheroid Universe, who was up 59.7%.
it sounds like hemorrhoid.
It makes me clinch. That doesn't make you go, oh, no, I've got, hey, sit.
This is not a
Say
game.
Evu. Don't touch Evu.
Wait till I tell you about this. These guys, this is not even a game.
59%.
It's not a game.
No.
Easy now. Easy.
They're a platform for developing extended reality projects. So they have their own cloud, their own programming language.
Like a VC in the area, in the
and
arena.
Here's what it does.
Wow.
Their ecosystem, it's formed around something called a space NFT, which would be connected to a user. And that will sort of keep track of what you do in the metaverse and sort of like a social media type score. And as you do more stuff, it will become more and more valuable. The only difference between this and social media is that you own your own information. It's put onto your space NFT. So it's not like a corporation like Facebook, for example, having every piece of information about you. So it's definitely really, really kind of cool. And it's kind
It
of
is interesting.
It's like your metaverse resume in a way.
Well, I'm very intrigued to see that platform. I would like to learn more about that one. So there's lots.
They have a very cool website.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah. It's one of those ones that, sort of you move kind of like almost like you're diving into it, and it's actually pretty darn cool.
So what's the website? Spheroid
All you need to
Universe?
do is just go on CoinGecko, look up PH, and
then you've got
it'll
all
show you it'll show you the address for their website.
Yeah, they've been out for just under a year. When they first launched, they hit 40 cents, and they haven't hit 40 cents again.
They have not.
No.
And what are they at?
They had a good drop that went down from 40 down to about a penny or less, then a jump back up to 20 cents. And now they're sitting at 0.05.
I wonder what's going on.
Well, that is hard to say. All right, now let's go over to the stock side.
Okay.
On the stock side, we had quite a bit of shakeups. Let's just jump in with number 7. Number 7, we got NVIDIA Corporation. We have not seen these. We've seen these guys a long time ago once. They were up 8.19%. Now, they have something called the Omniverse. It is a platform for connecting 3D worlds into a shared virtual universe. Now, this is already being used for design corporations and crafting virtual copies of real world workspaces. They, of course, also produce hardware that you've probably have heard of NVIDIA video cards with the NVIDIA chipset on it. They're also looking at making headsets. And they have also stated that they will give away for free their Omniverse software to anybody who is an artist or creator building virtual worlds in the Metaverse. They're very bullish on the Metaverse. So that's NVIDIA at number 7. Number 6 was Unity Software. They fell from 5 to 6 this week, but they were still up 7.65%. Coming in at number 5 is Intel. They've returned once again, up 9.45%. And once again, we've seen Intel many times. They're a fan favorite and a familiar to our chart. Number 4, Snap has fallen. They were only up 1.05%. Remember last week, me and Ryan were talking about that bump. Well, that bump is starting to fall off, and that's why Snap is starting to fall as well within our top 7. All right, number 3, Planet Labs. They were up 14.37%. So these guys are a satellite company. They have, they had last count was 462, but I'm sure it's probably a little higher now. They have so many satellites on the Earth, and they can capture an entire image of every part of the Earth's surface every day. And
what?
They can do it down to a resolution of 50 centimeters.
Okay, that's scary.
That is sort of scary.
These guys have, there's military applications to them, government applications, and the other thing too is they can take every piece of data about the Earth and they can put it into a database that's completely searchable, because one of their strong points is data analytics. Now, really interesting, and I guess this is how they got involved in the Metaverse, is their CEO has said it's easy to see how a platform like ours could be very interesting, very relevant in the future of all these virtual platforms that are being created, including the Metaverse. So if you think about all of these metaverses that are built off of real world locations, where do you think they're going to get all of that information from? These guys.
I know, I'm just on their website. It's really cool.
Oh, they are absolutely cool. So this is, I'm glad to see them come in this week, because there's a few outskirt people who've been sort of on the edge of coming in, and Planet Labs is one of them. So it was good to see them move into the top 7. All right, that takes us to number 2, Matterport, another brand new one to the list. They are up 24.43%. They are experts in 3D virtual tour space. So they have cameras that are designed to create 3D environments. So they're very, very good. They call it their 3D spatial data technology. They also are looking to create virtual twins of real world buildings. And we're not just talking about the actual visuals. Like they would have a twin that would have the same temperatures, the same lighting, and even the same foot traffic in the building as what you would have in the real one. In addition to that, Facebook has partnered with them to help develop their version of the metaverse. So that is Matterport, up 24.43%. Who could be at number one? Oh, go ahead, Tim.
No.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
You're such a tease.
No, it's
It got knocked out already.
no, it didn't get knocked out. What the banana bread is going on with my
Aha. Aha.
Aha. Yeah.
Scott DeRosa's right on the ball. He says, I wonder if Defyra is number one. It's like DeFi Kingdoms, and it went from a few dollars to being worth around 28 right now.
Whoa.
It did something.
It did. And Scott DeRosa also said he can give you a login for Axie Infinity if you want to try it out. Just saying.
Oh, that would actually be very, very cool.
Len's on the ball. He said it got rug pulled already. It's a stock.
It's a stock. It's not
It's
not a coin. It's not a coin.
It is not a coin. All right, I'm just going to reload that thing because something definitely weird had happened with that. All right. Just give me 2 seconds here as we pull this up.
Oh, nice screensaver.
It comes with the MacBook. So
oh, very nice.
Yeah. Where we're looking for Microsoft PowerPoint.
It's been so long since I used a Microsoft product that I use Google products now all the time, so it's funny to think. What?
That is Microsoft.
No, it's Google and
You're
Microsoft.
on a Microsoft computer.
No.
Yeah.
All right. I know what happened. I accidentally, because we've seen these guys before, I forgot to unhide the slide. But yeah, so coming in at number one, it was a long wait. Cloudflare up 31.16% in the last week. I know that Ryan's not super happy with these guys because some of the YouTubers have pumped them, but there we go. The stats pulled them up again. They are looking at building some of the infrastructure of the metaverse. And after playing DeFi Land, some people really need their infrastructure to be upgraded.
Yeah.
So
no kidding.
So Candace, if I was to ask you a question and say, okay, pick the metaverse and the stocks, like the coins and the stocks, right? Every week as you do this, is there one particular one, or is there a recurring one that you think is the one that's going to be the leader overall for a long time?
That's a good question. On the stock side, I think it's pretty easy. If I could only put my money behind one of them, it would be Microsoft.
Okay.
Just because especially because they're pulling in the workplace, the virtual workplace, where you can map your workplace and create offices. They've got a lot of different software on the go that is just fantastic. So Microsoft, I think, is going to be one of those horses that you can hitch up to without any worries whatsoever. Over on the crypto side, I really do like Engine. So Engine, as well as EFI, who isn't there yet. But EFI works in conjunction with Engine because EFI basically is Engine's connection to Polkadot. No surprise there that would make Engine one of my favorites. But it's just that Engine's going to have a lot of, between them and EFI, they're going to have a lot of cross-platform ability. And I think having cross-platform ability is going to create a lot of agility in any one particular coin. So those would be the two that I would look at. And I mean, Engine I've already got in my in my dollar cost average challenge. So
right.
Yep.
So that is definitely my picks.
Love it. Thank you so much, Candace. As always, that was really, really good information. Well researched, good information.
Well done.
I know I couldn't get the last word.
It starts with D.
I know. Anyways, thank you, Jill and Dave D, for pointing out the dryer sound. Somebody put the dryer on. And I said, oh,
Listen. It could have been Ken because he got up at the same time and the noise went away. So
I had to put the cat in the cage. The cat's bugging
no,
me. So.
I thought it's because we have our headsets on, we can't hear it. So the fact that you guys could hear it, sorry about that.
I didn't hear it myself, but that's because I was just continually talking.
Right. All right, Ken.
So
what's going on with Grove Token?
I bought some.
Thanks for that technical analysis. Now for the highlights of the hockey game.
Yeah. That's about it. Yeah, I bought some. Yeah.
Well,
what is the Grove Token all about?
That's a good question because I don't have any of that on my computer here. I don't have any.
This is how all his good coins start out. That's a good question. Okay, that's it. 1,000. I'm buying 1,000 of them.
I feel like when you say that, I'm like, does he just sit there, throw a dart because he's the freaking oracle, and then he goes?
No.
He is tired. He's had a long day.
You have to see him when the camera comes off. He picks up his magic 8-ball and shakes it.
Should I buy this one?
It looks good. Okay.
We're putting him on the spot. Ken, you're being a good sport. We're putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get there here.
Jason Spooner, words of wisdom. I bought some.
But that's not financial advice.
I'm not a financial advisor, but I bought some.
Yeah, Jason, he is the goat. He just freaking picks these things and they just do crazy ass things. When none of us listen, though, It's not like we haven't been told.
It's a token that's looking at doing something with renewable energy, solar technology, and hydroponic farming.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a global. It's called a global green payment system.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was. I've been hearing about this for a while, and they finally launched yesterday. I didn't get in on the pre-sale, unfortunately.
Oh, and it's called Grove.
Grove. As in apple grove, pineapple grove, turnip grove.
Grover.
Oh, sorry, that's the turnip truck.
Grover.
God. You and I are getting punchy with each other. Well, Grove sounds like it's a good one to put on our watch list.
And it's on the Binance Smart Chain too, so gas fees are next to nothing.
Oh, there you go. That is good to know.
I think my gas fee for my purchase last night was $2.10.
What?
Wow. So are you able to now use Binance again?
No, you use it through your MetaMask.
Through MetaMask, you.
Tim knows. Tim's got the down low.
So if something ever happened to Tim, I'd be sunk.
She's poot. Good thing I got it all written down.
I'll need friends. I'll need friends to help me. That's what will have to happen. Candace, I'd have to come to Ottawa, and you'd have to help me. There she comes. The dummy doesn't know what to do.
That's not nice.
Me, I'm the dummy.
Sorry.
Right.
Like Candace knew what I was saying.
It's like first I need your help, and then I'm calling you a dummy.
That's okay. I had this mental image of me sending Jill. I was like just go talk to her, keep her occupied, so I can get some work done.
Oh man. Well, okay. So I know there's definitely Gary wants to talk about fuel cost and how it's going to affect us all. Totally want to get there, but I have questions about some of this Bitcoin price action because I don't know if you ever watched the blockchain backer. Do either of you watch him, the blockchain backer, in his technical analysis?
No, but I have a really good idea what's going on right now.
Okay, well, can I, before you give me your...
Let guests go first.
I just wanted to explain about this blockchain backer and then have the discussion about it. So Mark Lazarick, who you guys all know, works for me. Of course, he and I talk about it every day. And he was saying the blockchain backer yesterday did he only does technical analysis. And he said yesterday when everything kind of pumped up a little bit, but that was it overlaid directly onto historical price charts. And I go, yeah, but there's a black swan kind of event going on. Nobody could have predicted this whole, well, maybe could have predicted it somewhat, but not exactly, that the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. And so I know that's weighing in here. I'm just wondering, so my question out to you when you're responding to this is this a direct correlation to what's happening with Russia, or was this predetermined based on historical data?
Well, I have one interesting thing. If you want to just bring up my chart here, this is my big chart that I've been talking about for a while. So you'll notice this began all the way back in December, but let's just zoom in a bit here on what happened here with Russia. So when the Russia-Ukraine thing happened, this is the day it happened right here. We got another bottom test. It came down and touched my bottom and then reversed right away, which is kind of when I had put out my first email about this chart back here around bottom test 3. I had said it was going to probably come up and it might come back down and retest it again, because if you look in the past, we've had 1, 2. We tend to do things in twos in this channel. So we tend to really like hitting it twice. And so I was saying it wasn't without possibility that we'd come down and hit it twice, and we did. And now we're getting right back up into where we should be in this channel. And we're still on, end of May. We're still looking at the possibility of, and let me just pull this back a little bit. Here we go, just so that we can see the price action. So we're still looking at even as high as $75,000 by the end of May, early June. So even though we had a black swan event, it still respected this channel that we've been in. And
interesting. Okay, so that was my question. Like, do we think that the trajectory of that then will remain regardless of what,
until the channel's broken, I'm very confident in this channel. I mean, this is a channel that it doesn't matter. We've been in it for a very long time. This channel has survived the pandemic, the illness.
Yeah.
The illness wasn't a big enough black swan event to knock us out of the channel. Russia made us retest the bottom, but that was it. And I mean, I know there's a lot of speculation out there right now saying that, okay, well, people in, the rich oligarchs in Russia are buying Bitcoin, and, a lot of people are buying Bitcoin so that they can help fund Ukraine. Sure, that's probably helping a little bit, but I don't think it's helping as much as people think.
You've got millions and millions of Russians right now that are exchanging the rubles for Bitcoin so that it still keeps a US dollar amount.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what you could see happen is, as they start using them for food and whatnot, you could possibly see Bitcoin going back down again.
But you have to look at it this way too. You've also got the Ukraine. They're being sent all of this Bitcoin, but they need it for weapons. So they're not.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's all war driven
as soon as they get it.
Yeah, it's all war driven. So we're going to see a little up and down, up and down, up and down for a little. Yeah,
there's going to definitely be some up and downs, but I think we're going to see a big positive move in this channel. And I'm still confident. Until, like I said, until the channel is invalidated, and it will someday be invalidated, because channels don't last forever. But when is that going to happen? Is that going to happen this time around? Is it going to happen on the downside, or is it going to happen on the upside? We don't know. Nobody knows. Anybody who says they know the exact future, is wrong. But this is what the channel is currently saying. And one day it will break. Then we'll have to look for, we'll have to look for a new channel, or, we'll have to use a different set of TA.
My question always goes back down to, I know that there's historical data on Bitcoin. However, is that even valid anymore? Like, it was valid before because it had, it was tied to the having and all that sort of stuff. Like, it just feels like it's starting to take on and have a life of its own. Like, sometimes people are saying it's coupled to the stock market. Sometimes more like a NASDAQ, more like a tech stock, more like a this. and now we've got it being used in a very real world, very, very public display of a use case for an economy that's collapsing, both in Russia, and then also that we're using it to fund.
Well, yeah, it's being used in a
Right.
multi-purpose
So,
fashion.
If you think about it now, people are actually seeing a real world use. Before, it used to more or less be, well, you know, it might be worth something someday, or here are some possible uses for it. But now people are seeing that use. They're seeing, you know, people using it for, you know, they're seeing Russians use it. They're seeing the Ukrainians use it. And of course, a lot of people, like, this has given power. Like, you know, Joe Blow down the street, if he's like, I really want to help the Ukrainians, he can do it. We've never had in a war on this planet, we have never had the ability to help. And now this is a situation where everybody does have that ability. Everybody who wants to, you know, stand up and fight. It's sort of like, if you think about the whole trucker thing, when people had that ability to help them, this is it on a large world scale. And people are doing it. People are standing up. This is making Bitcoin relevant.
Yeah, but that could make your TA totally out the window, because now you got more world events.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm thinking too, is if this channel blows up, it's probably going to blow up on the upside. You know, and then after that, we'll have to sort of figure out, we'll be in sort of new territory. And at that point, you know, it'll be fun, because it's nice to sort of not have a clue where things are going to go.
So I wonder, and it's too bad Tim Perry wasn't on here, or, you know, maybe Ken or Ryan or even Ken just can do this, is I wonder if this will, what effect this has, because we always say Bitcoin and Ether are going to run and then it's going to come over to the altcoins. I wonder if this is a premature run, or if it's actually going to do what it was supposed. If this normal cycle of, you know, the Bitcoin run, the ETH run, and then into the altcoin season, I wonder if this Black Swan event has affected that at all.
I think that's already something we've already seen it affect it. It hasn't been working that way, exactly the way everybody used to say, in a very long time. If anything, I think that cycle is probably broken, and you can't really count on it. In a way, though, this is what's good for altcoins, you know, from ETH right into, you know, into everything, is that Bitcoin is sort of like that gateway drug when it comes to getting into crypto. People know about Bitcoin, and when they get into Bitcoin, they start to get exposed to the other coins, and they begin to see some of the different applications and what they're used for, and then they start getting into them. Like, how many people in this chat began with Bitcoin? Yeah, everybody, mostly. You know, nobody just out of the blue just said, "Oh, I think I'm going to get Shiba." Now,
I know some people that did that.
There probably are now, just because of, you know. But
yeah, you hear the hype,
if
right?
you take the regular, just average Joe, not somebody who's really, you know, into some of the meme stuff, they've all begun with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's going to expose people to a lot more. And when you start to bring all of that extra market cap into Bitcoin, it's going to flow. It's not going to stop at Bitcoin. It's going to flow into the altcoins. So Bitcoin may even have a little bit of a small revolving turnstile, where you've got money coming into Bitcoin initially, and then flowing out into ETH, you know, Matic, Polkadot, you know, Satama. There's just so many scenarios that this is going to lead into. So I think it's actually very exciting. Not the war, like the war sucks.
Right.
But the war is kind of creating this catalyst environment for crypto.
Yeah. Well, Len is saying that there's a rate hike coming in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm on Len's side. I have to disagree with Candace, because we've got between 7 and 11 planned rate hikes coming, downward pressure forced in the next year alone. Okay. Downward pressure forced every single freaking time. And if inflation gets out of control because of this conflict with Russia and the Ukraine, they're going to be forced to raise rates more than the quarter point that everyone on earth can predict. You know what I mean? So we'll get that half point. And that will really be the rug pull of rug pulls for the market. So do they do that 2-3 times, once maybe? Hopefully they don't. Hopefully it's just quarter point raises. There's no positive momentum at all. And literally we've got, for instance, I forget, and sorry to get all bearish here, but like I try to always pick apart every time I feel good about something. I try to pick it apart on the investment side. And no, seriously, every time and like I'm watching Twitter go nuts. The amount of wallets that have hold over 1,000 Bitcoins has increased like crazy. I'm sure that was BlackRock, okay, consolidating wallets. And then they made a statement about it. So we're all thinking that no, whales are taking over their and it's like, no, 2 minutes of research just shows BlackRock is just combining wallets here for 2 minutes. And there really is no whale action.
Yeah.
The amount of crypto donations going to Ukraine right now is like this.
Right.
At the end of the day. I mean, this is a great catalyst in the sense that we're not dropping, but we're certainly not going up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at the weekly chart or even the monthly chart. We're definitely not going up. Jill, look, we can go on all night long, but I mean, I don't agree at all that there's positive catalysts coming for crypto. I mean, there's not
Jason,
I mean, for stocks too, where you've got nothing to look forward to for stocks. Like these rate hikes are going to be ridiculous.
Jason Spooner cracks me up. Me, 5 minutes ago, Bitcoin to the moon. Ryan comes on. I want to sell it all.
Oh, Jason.
I own Bitcoin. So I'm just saying, like, I mean, who are we kidding? These rate hikes are coming. Inflation's going to be worse than we ever thought. Okay, we don't even feel inflation for a quarter, sometimes a quarter and a half. So, like, with respect to price increases. So we're not, I mean, this is just not looking good. He says one rate hike in 2022.
Yeah, the markets will tank. Yeah. Well, that's what he's thinking. One rate hike.
And actually, not to mention this. Okay, so if anyone's so I started watching videos about this. It's kind of blowing my mind. So when 5-year, 2-year, 10-year treasury yields in the United States start to flatline, it's usually an indication of an oncoming recession over 80% of the time. So we're flatlining. Okay, we have no positive catalyst because we have rate hikes, we have war, and we have devastating inflation. Who the fuck in their right mind is bullish right now? I mean, I'd love it to be. But look, I'm investing because I hope it is, but I don't know. I'm finding this is my buy the dip opportunity, but this is where I'm going to be well off in 5 years because of the buying I do today, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm not like I'm writing off the economy or anything like that. I'm totally not doing that. I'm just saying we're depressed right now, slightly. We're going to be even more depressed. That's so damn obvious with what's coming. Inflation alone is going to be insane. And yes, Len, I assume that. But I mean, in 5 years from now, I think I'm going to be really well off by playing my cards now. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's really funny. There's a convergence of a whole bunch of stuff happening all the way around. I'm kind of calling it a shit sandwich, believe it or not. Because it's just no matter how you slice it, we're in the perfect storm, and it's swirling around, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, Gary wanted to talk about it earlier on in the little episode tonight, and what he's talking about is these fuel prices are going to kill us, literally.
They're predicting.
Okay, well, this is the thing, Nancy. We're talking
diesel.
about inflation on fucking bags of chips and cans of soup here. Okay, let's get real for a second and talk about every trucker or even consumer. Okay, gas when I came to Ottawa was $1.76 in Northern Ontario. Now it's over $2. That's on camera. It'll be over $2 here in Ottawa in June. If you thought prices at the grocery store were bad before, when their gas price goes up 30%, gas is everything. Fuel is seriously one of the biggest expenses for any small, medium, or large business.
Yep.
I don't care if people don't like it or not. It's literally one of the largest expenses. And when that large expense goes up by 30 points in 12 to 18 months, you don't think we're going to be, and this is on top of our inflation worries that we already have, highest in 30, 40 years. This is on top of the rate hikes that are going to come and will have to come even more aggressively if the inflation gets bad. Well, I mean, to me, I'm sitting here and I don't know where to put my cash because people are like, oh, you hold cash and you lose 7% a year because of inflation, but you buy stocks and you lose 60%. We've looked at stocks like PayPal, MicroStrategy, all these companies, right? And they're good companies, but it's like the average person seriously asking themselves, where do you put your money right now? There's only one place. I'm not even going to say it because people are going to call me a boomer, but there's one place I put my money that hasn't lost a damn dime. And it's commodity based is all I'm going to say. And honestly, that's my only concern is like, I'm not a bull. A bear. I own it. But are we blind to the world that we're living in right now? I mean, I don't know where to put my cash because the stock market's bleeding. Inflation's killing my bank account.
So have you considered Ledden, putting it into a USDC and getting 9% back on it?
It's funny because I was so against that the other day when I had that emotional trip about what Canada's doing. I said cold wallet, this and that. It's funny, and I'm just a regular person. I make mistakes. I have changed of opinion. I'm considering it more, but at the same time, I don't have a whole lot in crypto where I'm like worried about a rug pull in my scenario. You know what I mean? Like if I lost it, I lost it. It would suck, but it's not what you have. You know what I mean? So I'm still I was actually going to text you and Nancy the other day. Well, I kind of was talking to Nancy about it, that I'm still very 50-50 on that. And on the whole cyber threat, I mean, a lot of this is propaganda too. We have to acknowledge that. It is. Because let's just be honest, when the Ukrainians are deciding to release convicted criminals from prison who have military experience, it's because there's a lot of Ukrainians dying. But we're not hearing about that, right? So I don't know how much of this I want to be absorbing right now. And I'm very 50-50 on the Ledden and BlockFi. Like I was talking to Nancy the other day. I'm still actually very curious what you guys think about it. Because
I'm really discouraged with BlockFi right now. As a matter of fact, I've actually set up another couple of addresses, which of course take 7 days to get validated, to start actually pulling out my ETH and my Bitcoin and my USDC out of BlockFi, just because of the interest rates and because of the length of time it would take to access it if I needed it in a pinch. So I am actively on the hunt of taking it out of BlockFi because I think the time has come. It served its purpose.
Well,
and Ledden is giving better rates on USDC than BlockFi. Only 50 points, but
no, but we have to say this as well. So BlockFi we're noticing the products on BlockFi and Ledden are entirely different, right? So the Ledden products are very stable. There's no players in Ledden. They don't allow it really because of what they hold. Now you're getting Polkadot. I mean, don't get me started. Now you're getting Polkadot. You're getting, how many altcoins on BlockFi now that pay you 12, 11, 13%? They just released new ones today or the other day, right? I believe Ledden is probably pretty solid. BlockFi, though, is turning into...
it's getting too commercialized.
It's like the YouTube version of Ledden, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's hype.
You know what?
It's
It's the Winklevoss. They've got shareholders to be accountable to, and they probably have a little bit of that with the SEC going on too, right? So, I would rather have it in a Canadian company that's just an hour drive away.
It's funny because there's peace of mind in that, even though we're going to have no contact with that company regardless. They could be in Zimbabwe for all I care. You know what I mean? But it's funny how there is peace of mind in that. I will say, though, that the rates for serious people, like, this is how I was kind of looking at it. Like, it seems like Ledden is better for the serious investor just because of what it promotes and the rates that it gives on those very, very specific coins, right? Whereas BlockFi doesn't know who its customer is. They're trying to drag in everybody under the sun. So they're offering the Polkadots, the Axie Infinity, if you can believe it or not, and like all of it. And it's I'm starting to have, I haven't even mentioned this to my channel members, but
they've got to stay competitive.
I found $1,000 in my BlockFi account the other day because I haven't spoken about BlockFi in like 9 months, right? So I just never checked it. There was like $1,000 in there. So I bought a few things that I would never, ever, ever buy in my entire life. I haven't even told channel members because it didn't even feel like real money. But I bought a few things I would never buy in my entire life. But I bought 5 more Litecoin, 5 more Solana, or 5 Solana, not more, but 5 Solana, and then the rest just sitting in Bitcoin change or whatever. But I can honestly say that after really thinking hard about, after not going back to what caused me to trigger on Bitcoin a few weeks ago, but being anti-BlockFi led, and I wanted on cold storage, to really opening my mind. How am I trying to be serious about this? I really don't think I have a problem with Ledden or BlockFi, but I mean, let's just say Ledden because it's Canadian. I don't think I actually have a bigger problem as I thought I did 3 weeks ago. I'm just not worried about it. I don't know. You guys have 10 times, 100 times what I have, but.
Well, you know what? Jury's still out. We're trying to move ourselves into a different position. I can't even believe I'm saying that because I've been concerned about cold storage because truthfully, I have to really be on the ball with knowing what we have if he puts it into cold storage, and I'm not on the ball. Not that I'm not smart about it. We've decided he's going to be on the ball about things, and I am doing other things.
Well, okay, so this is the thing with cold storage, and I started actually looking at myself, and I'm only going to say it because we're an hour deep here. Whoever's left knows me. I drink way too much alcohol, so whatever you guys want to call that is what you guys can call that. I have no problems with that.
Connoisseur.
So I drink way too much, but it affects my memory, right? And I was genuinely thinking that, like, my memory is actually affected on a day-to-day basis. It's really bad. I don't even know if I'd feel comfortable having cold storage, knowing my physical state, if that makes any sense.
Sure
You know what I mean?
Sure does.
And, and that's like really bad on my part too. But if I ever forgot those 12 words, whatever it is, well, then fuck me, I'm dead.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
and it scared me a bit because I thought, oh my God, it really put into perspective the bad choices I made in my life versus the money it's costing me, security, yada, yada, yada. But and that's the thing is now I'm having, as much as I'd love to be in cold storage, I don't trust myself almost in cold storage. That's where I'm kind of
trust us.
Who do you bank with?
Like my regular bank?
Yeah.
TD.
So, I mean, in our package, we get a free safety deposit box, which we got, and we looked at it, and there's nothing in it except valuable air. But that's where, I was driving the other day, and I'm thinking, I got to thinking for some stupid reason, I've got everything written down like I should have written down, but I've got it written down only once and in one place. And it's like, I hear what you're saying, Ryan, because it's like my memory isn't very good sometimes either. And it's like, I actually had a shiver go down the back of my spine. And I thought, obviously there's Dave Callan's product, right?
I don't even trust.
But there's something that even your parents should have some sort of security somehow, somewhere, box, safe, whatever, that you just write this stuff down and plug it away in there.
I know, but a safety deposit box, like, you've got to have almost multiple locations for if my wealth. I mean, I'm not worried about keeping my wealth in fiat because, quite honestly, I can access that with Swift across the planet. Bitcoin's not obviously established like that, in the sense that if I do forget my 12 words or 24 words, I don't have a card and I can't go to a branch and show them my life. You know what I mean? Like, I just know that and someone's saying, like,
that's
oh,
coming,
stop
though.
drinking. I just want to say this really quick because someone's like, Soroya, I love you to death. You're like, oh, stop drinking. I absolutely would. I'm just saying it's more of a thing for me, and I'm not going to get into the details. I'm just saying it's the one thing that I have wrong with me is that. And I know that with that issue, I can't remember a damn thing. I don't remember what I talk about on Ken's live stream 6 hours later. And I'm not kidding.
A few times, man. Yeah.
No, but I'm not even kidding. You think I'm lying? Like, I'm not kidding. So I don't remember. And it's like, I'm at a weird crossroads because, I debate the security of my funds, especially feeling threatened in Canada. Not that I donated or this or that. I told Nancy, and I think Nancy probably told Tim some of the issues I'm dealing with on my YouTube channel because of what's happened recently. But it's like, I also know myself. I'm at such a crossroads. I don't know if I trust myself to put money into 12 or 24 words, if that makes sense. I mean, a PIN code is hard enough.
I know. No, I know. I think it's coming down the line. I think these banks will at a certain point custody your crypto for you. I really do believe that they'll get to that place. That sort of defies the ideology that, you know, it's.
You think they'll do that?
I do, because in Australia they're already.
But wouldn't that contradict them promoting and offering ETFs where they're making a good boatload of money?
I think they will.
No.
I think it's a matter of time before they custody.
Tim, what do they do with your fiat cash in their account? They lend it out. They lend it out for 1/10 of the rate. Okay. It's going to be even greater because Bitcoin's volatile or crypto's volatile. The rates will be even greater. You think money? Oh my God, banks are just
but I taught
waiting.
them how to run an overdraft.
Oh, man. You guys, you're so funny. I know D Friendly said something about if Canada can take your bank account, can they not also take your safety deposit box too? Safety deposit boxes are completely different, and they are handled way different. I used to work at the bank. It's easy for them to garnish your wages. It's easy for them to stop your bank accounts. But I don't believe, because safety deposit boxes run sort of on a separate, or they did when I worked there, that was very different in how they handled that.
My only issue with the safety deposit box is, one, I learned when I was in sales that nothing's free. You're paying for the safety deposit box in your monthly or yearly bank fee. Yep. So nothing's free. But the one thing that freaked me out, this didn't freak me out about silver, but for instance, I thought, why am I paying money to I'm not a multimillionaire, so I couldn't justify the cost of the box versus my holdings. And then the same thing applies for me with Bitcoin. If I put it on, or anything, if I put it on cold storage, I don't know if, one, I can justify the cost of the box through if you're going to pay for the same account, same fees, regardless, and get a free box, why not? But at the same time, building burns down, you forget the words. I mean, you could have your ledger stick on you and you forget one word of your key phrase and you're hooped. And I'm just I'm trying so hard to wrap my head around this, not your keys, not your coin, or whatever they call it, whatever. Because I'm so afraid. I'm like, I bought one. I've got a ledger for like 7, I don't know when I even told you guys I bought it, months ago. It's like, I don't even want to use this fucking thing. I have to convince myself. And even when I thought I was so angry at Canada that I had to use this thing, it only took about 48 hours for me to realize I don't want this, though. And I'm still trying to battle between cold and an exchange or BlockFi Ledin, whatever. I'm still, Candace, what do you think about this? Because I'm very curious what you think on this.
I mean, I like the idea of the cold ledger. The thing, I guess, is, you want to really be careful what you do. I've actually got my password in a digital form, but it's encrypted in a code that only I know. It would probably take somebody with a quantum computer to figure it out. And even then, it doesn't really make sense the way I've done it. So it's not predictable.
Well, one thing I was curious, Candace, because I'm not sure if this is related to yours, but this is how I thought, if you could pick your own. Can you pick your own words, for instance? I don't even know this.
No, you can't.
You can't. Okay, so then my idea goes out the window.
Because that makes it predictable. Because if you could pick your own words, people would start to pick words that make sense to make it easier for them to remember. And then instead of having
to pick the first word of my favorite book on my first 12. So then can you tell me then how this is working then, where they give you random words? How are you able to store 12 to 24 random words that mean nothing to you or your life and feel safe about memorization? That's a genuine question, as stupid as that might sound.
No, it's not stupid. No, I wonder the same thing.
The way I've done it is I have a document, and these words are in specific locations within this document. There's probably about 20,000 words in the document, but I know the exact locations of each word that is a keyword. So if somebody else found my document and managed to break through the password to get into the document, the odds of them picking the right 20 words in the right order, because I don't do it where, like, on page 1, word number
The
1 is
first word.
here, page 2, it's like 1 may be on page 300, 2 might be on page 15. So, I've got it worked out that way. And that way there, I always have access to it. Unless, of course, that solar kill shot comes in and wipes out all the power, then I couldn't get it anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the funny thing. The only reason that this has become such a really hot topic recently was, I think it was last week we were talking about it on this channel, was everybody, all the YouTubers, everybody was saying, get your stuff off of exchanges. And then even the exchanges were saying to get your stuff off the exchanges. Because if we were like, let's go back and talk about Russia, Ukraine for a minute, because there's some unpredictability there that is exasperating this problem. And one of them is, if Putin gets himself backed into a corner, is it possible? I'm just asking the question because I don't know. Is it possible that he could literally cause a cyber attack on us? Because I actually had this conversation with my boss saying, if the internet were to go down and we're all working remotely, think about how precarious we are in Canada right now because people are still working remotely. How exactly am I supposed to get a very large order from a hospital taken if I only have everything we do is over the internet? How do I get that information? We don't even have a landline. I'm using my cell phone if I had to call somebody. But if we have a cyber or a security breach that way, how am I going to get the order from the hospital and then get it over to the warehouse
then get it over? Right? Yeah, well, see that security breach and everything, that's not going to end internet. That's going to be an attack on the Pentagon, on the White House. That's going to be specific attacks. Now, that'll happen before any kind of nuclear war. That step will be taken before nuclear by Putin. I can see that.
And here's the thing, too. Right now, I know there's a lot of people, even within the higher ups in Russia, that completely disagree with Putin. I mean, if he keeps on going irrational and keeps on pushing things, I wouldn't even be surprised to see an uprising within Russia and have him removed from power.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
I would not be surprised.
It's tough to know what's true and what's not, though, Candace, in these times, because we're as a general public perception right now, we are starting to learn more and more about not trusting what we hear in the news, even though the one sources that we may listen to is what we believe in. Even they could do an about face on us just for national security or whatever the case is, right? So we're really at something where we've got to have some sort of not a the world is ending plan for ourselves, but I think we have to seriously contemplate, doing things that what if this happens? And it may not happen this time, but there could be something else that would happen. A solar flare. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. The solar flare actually would probably be more realistic than a nuclear war.
Right.
It's just all very disconcerting right now because all of this, what's going on, there was a couple of observations from watching what was happening with Russia entering Ukraine. The run on the banks was shocking. Like, I made him go get cash. That's number one. And the second thing is not only just the run on the banks and everything. I was thinking, all the people who have everything sunk into their home and they don't have liquidity, like, what good does that do you if you're in that kind of a situation? And we're very arrogant in the West, thinking that none of this can happen to us. And we shouldn't be arrogant about it. Go ahead.
How many people are going to lose their jobs and businesses because of simply gasoline prices because of Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, tons.
So we're talking about tens of thousands of people. of which many will commit suicide. Families will be broken. This is absolutely going to, and I hate to say it, like I don't want to, let's move off this dark topic, but 1% employment means thousands of people die. Like every single time through poverty, crime. It's the most devastating thing. What we're seeing here in Russia and Ukraine is politics dating back to the Cuban Missile Crisis and all of these issues. If people are wondering, why has Ukraine always been a friggin' wasteland? Okay, it's on, and I'm not saying anything poor about the country or the people. They've built themselves up. It's incredible. But why has that country always been forgotten? It's only just getting into the EU after the war. It's never accepted by NATO. It's because Russia negotiated that they needed that piece of land in between Europe and Moscow because of how close Moscow is to the Ukrainian border. Because that piece of land guarantees that small, short-range, and medium-range ballistic missiles cannot reach the capital of Russia. So when you start seeing the tides turn here and oil exports dip, I was telling Nancy about this, just like they did with Crimea, they were obviously preparing for something, that being a buffer zone. Also, those two independent republics in the Ukraine, all have a very unique gap between their border, okay? They're all about the very unique gap. What is that kilometer gap equal to? Short-range launch for rockets that they're dealing with in Israel. They had to create the dome or defense dome, whatever it's called. This is a two-pronged thing here. This is a double-edged sword because Ukraine obviously should not have been invaded. And two, Russia feels threatened because of the progress of NATO and the European Union, and that was their buffer zone. Now, their problem is that people live in the Ukraine and grew up there, and that's their home, and they don't want to be in no man's land. I mean, no shit. But that's what that piece of territory was set for. So you can blame Russia all you want, and I do, but there's a lot of blame to be put on our end too for allowing Ukraine to maintain that position. Never once saying you can join NATO. We're not going to get your back. We never agreed to that. You're the buffer zone. You're no man's land. That's why they're still not accepted to NATO. Now, we might accept you to the European Union, as said 2 or 3 days ago. That's because the West knows what it agreed to years and years and decades ago. So this is so beyond political and less about the human life cost as much as this. I mean, I know Genuine was sparring with me earlier. You're uneducated. This is just my opinion on it, okay? So people can disagree with me. This is just my opinion on it. But we're North Americans who have no fucking clue what's going on down there. And we also don't know about the land deals and agreements that were put in place. Also, if people look at where Moscow is on the map, there's a friggin' reason why Ukraine was destined to be nothing forever. Because it was a necessary buffer. I mean, like, we're looking at this as if we've got to really zoom out. You know what I mean? Because, like, all of this propaganda, all of this BS, and from both sides, I will say I'm Ukrainian, 100% support Ukrainian on this front, okay? But the propaganda is coming out from both sides. And it's so devastating. But to imagine, on crypto. I'm a bear on crypto just because I don't agree with you, bud. But no, I was going to say, like, honestly, on this one, I'm having a hard time coming down with like a definitive opinion in that I know that when we're talking about Russia breaking international law, where does, like, have we not broken international law by allowing Ukraine to house certain units of allied forces that was not agreed upon as well? And, like, totally honest, and I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, this is absolutely a 1960s issue being solved in 2022, because this is all because of, like, literally the 5 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis and defining ranges and ballistic capability. This is crazy. Like, this to me is sorry, just reading Jill's comment. You can't just sign up to NATO like it's some basic treaty. Look up why they've never accepted them despite pleas. You do have to get all the member countries that are part of it to agree. So why haven't they agreed to it? It's because of the agreement with Russia needing the buffer zone to Moscow. It's simple as this goes all the way back to the 1960s, which is why, again, Ukraine still is not accepted to NATO. Despite all this, still not accepted to NATO.
Do you know what I find curious in all of this is that what was the turning point that made Putin decide to do this?
Okay, this is my gut, okay? Because again, those two regions in the north and the south, they've got Crimea. So by taking those two regions, they really solidify a position in the Black Sea with 4 major ports for trade, guaranteed. 2, with a 400 to 600 kilometer range, which is the gap of these two regions, convenient given there's no outlying towns by the border. So the border is put there because of the safety factor of the ballistic missile capability of Europe, which is what this whole conflict is about. We've been fighting this for 60 years. It's been 60 years of the same bullshit with the USSR, or you know what? We can almost call it the USSR now because they're acting like it. It's been the same shit with Ukraine. And I mean, guys, to me, it's common sense, but it's just because I'm looking at it in a certain light. I could be totally wrong. But to me, this is the most strategic buffer zone that nobody has ever considered. That's all Russia needs. That's why they're going to Kiev. Peace talks are in place, right? So they'll fall back, but they'll keep those two regions. Mark my words. And when they keep those two regions, it means they guaranteed themselves no possibility of rocket or short-range missile attacks on Moscow, at the minimum. So, I mean, we have to think about this is seriously, like, ballistic missile politics are real.
This is that game Risk.
Yeah, but what has Russia cared about forever? That's all they talk about. Forever. What's your missile range? Forever.
Medium ballistic missiles can hit Moscow, man, from the Black Sea.
Yeah, medium. Exactly. What I'm saying is that these new regions cut out the short. So I'm saying they're just getting anything they possibly can. Anything they possibly can. Because look at Israel, Gaza, short-range missiles, okay? Short-range rocket attacks. You can have but if you annihilate short range, it means you annihilate 90% of guerrilla forces because that's all they can afford. Like, this is strategic, political, and financial all at the same time. Like, a guerrilla force is not going to be able to afford a long-range ballistic missile. A Ukrainian militia force will be able to afford multiple vehicles that can launch short-range rockets. Like, this is just obvious to me.
Can a bus driver says, does Russia have veto power in the new NATO partners?
Yes.
Which is why Ukraine wasn't.
Wait, sorry.
Accepted.
I think Russia, had a veto power with UN vote, but I could be wrong.
Yes, the UN vote that they have veto power with.
Yeah, UN vote, yeah.
Another sort of side note that's kind of interesting is when the word broke that they were planning to attack during the Olympics, China actually reached out to Russia and said, can you hold off a little bit? And that's the reason that they attacked after the Olympics, because China was basically demanding that that's the way they did it.
I don't know. It's just it's just unfortunate because we're just coming out of the pandemic. We were just starting to get supply chain hobbling along. We were already seeing massive inflation numbers like that I've never seen before. Now the fuel prices, we're going to have to pass that cost down. We can't eat that. And I just don't know. And then add on, like Tim and I are trying to figure out where we're gonna potentially move to. We might stay here, we might move. And then you add in the unbelievably ridiculous prices of the homes. There's no conceivable.
This is another thing I wanted to bring up the other day, Nancy, because someone was saying prices of homes are never coming down. Do we not? Let's talk about corporate greed And let's also talk about how smart corporations are, because they're not fucking dumb. So let's just say we've got an entire community in Toronto right now. Let's just say the average price before this BS was $500,000. They're selling for, say, $1 million. Let's just say, for numbers, okay? Those real estate, and you're the last person in your community to list your house for sale, okay? And all the comps are for $1 million, way over asking. What's your real estate agent going to list it for? $500,000, okay? Because they'll get over asking for it. And that's how you can tell that the real estate and corporations are preparing for this bubble, by not asking what you're going to get. It's as simple. The over asking, we're going to lose instantly. So for everyone who paid over asking, that's forgotten money. That is dead money. It's gone forever. It is totally dead. The real estate all of these corporations are only incrementally raising their asking prices, because they're going to spread this intense gain over the next 3 to 4 years. And it's going to be amazing for stockholders, and everyone else loses.
Yeah, because it's not even. I just think people haven't really. Can you just move your elbow, please? Sorry. I just don't think people have done the mathematics on this whole thing yet. Like, so you may be sitting thinking, "Oh my gosh, you bought a house and maybe you paid $500,000 for your house at one point, and now it's worth $1 million." How many of those people haven't pulled the equity out of that home, and they're using it for other things? Now you start adding in what that carrying cost, what the cost of that new mortgage is if you've pulled that equity out. And I can tell you, you need to have an above average salary level to be able to afford these mortgage payments and actually live in these inflationary times. And nobody's getting these massive salary increases unless you're jumping jobs. And if you're jumping jobs and you're the last guy in the door, guess who's the first guy to go when something happens? Which I think it's going to, because to Ryan's point, there is no way that we're not going to be into a recessionary time. There's no way. I called inflation bad a year ago to everybody on this channel, and everybody's like, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it. I'm like, no, I'm telling you.
We're talking about like, oh, the markets are going to get better. They're only going to keep going up. It's like, can we just stop being fucking dumb for like 30 seconds? Can we take our head out of our ass and like look at reality? Like, you nailed it. And then I was starting to come on board, and now it's just, we can see that the sky is blue. It's obvious. You know what I mean? This couldn't be Nancy, I know people call me a bear 24/7, but I'm so on your page, it's not even funny now. This is obvious. And now you start seeing, again, energy is the only thing we have. And that's going to inflate like crazy? Yeah, we're hooped. We're hooped. Let's just get real. We're hooped. GDP in Canada. Okay, Nancy, did you see the GDP numbers? There was month over month, quarter, year. Okay. I don't know if it was, I think it was the quarter. We're starting to shrink. So this is obvious. Bitcoin, stocks, everything.
So here, riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. We're already missing employees. Just say we talk any manufacturing, anything. We're missing employees in this country. Okay. Where's all the manufacturing and all the facilities are located primarily in, let's talk even the greater Toronto area. You got so many warehouses right within a very small sphere. Okay. So those warehouse jobs and all that sort of stuff, they may be slightly above average from an overall salary point of view, but how the heck are they affording to live in the GTA? Like, I know your mom posted that there's a 1-bedroom in South Beach is going for $2,500 a month in US dollars. That's what it is in the greater
bachelor.
For a bachelor. That, we're trying to figure out what to do we're looking whether to buy, whether to rent, what the heck to do. I don't want to jump into the market right now. I think it's too hot. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we continue to rent, go someplace else. What they're asking for and what's out there is just completely bonkers.
Nancy,
it's bonkers.
I would love to hear your brother's opinion on this, because if the market was fairly valued, real estate agents would be asking really fucking close to what houses are selling for.
Right.
It's that simple.
Well,
People
know
are
the game.
overthinking
They know
this.
the game.
Sorry?
They know the game.
Well, but it seems like no one else does. Like in sales, it's so damn obvious. It's so obvious. We're up 200 freaking %. Let's spread it out 5 years, be Gucci, and then let's let the foreclosures catch up when we have renewals. And then we'll just have more people to buy because there'll be more houses. And it's the same cycle every time. And it's always the people who want the help, who need the help, who lose.
Right.
Every time. And it's because they don't look further into it. It's because they bought a house for 780 grand when it was listed for 400.
Right.
That's why they lose. And I'm sorry. That's why you fucking lose. And you're going to have no money and you deserve it. Like, and this is the thing. Like, I can be a cold mother effer at some times, but it's like, are we like, how much sympathy do we have for total idiots? Because like, we're at a point now, we're getting into a house. Like, I'm not going to talk about millennials in this because having your first home is more of a life milestone than it is an investment. So I'm not going to judge people buying their first home whatsoever. But people selling their home in this market only to absorb a mortgage where their mortgage rates totally absolve all their profits. What are they doing? What are they doing? It's actually stupid. Like you have all these people who are like, oh, you should be doing this and this and this. It's like, are you fucking dumb? You're selling your house because it's worth double. And now you're going to have to pay double for a shit shack that you didn't want in the first place. And your mortgage is up to here. And you're no further ahead. It's literally the most embarrassing thing. I mean, this market is identifying weakness. Seriously. Like, I hate to be cold as hell, but you can tell who's weak by where their money's going right now, because this market is absolutely definitive as hell. Real estate is so intense with how obvious they're being. They don't list the houses at the price you're paying. That couldn't be more obvious. This is overvalued.
Yeah.
Like and they're not going to put their business in jeopardy to list it for that price.
Well, okay, so like but extrapolate it out from just the cost of everyday items that you're going to need in order to run your household and to live your life. And here's my bigger question is there's lots of companies now talking about the return to work strategy for all of those employees that have been, like, I've been working out of my garden shed for now. Yes, Genuine. Tim and I that was one of our thoughts was maybe we could do that. Move into a motorhome. I'm not even kidding.
Starting, yeah.
But I was talking about this with all the people that are being asked to return to work. Well, okay, you start thinking about commuting cost when your price of fuel is $2 a liter plus, and they got to commute. No.
Remember, I mentioned that.
You're talking to someone that spends more
I mentioned that
time.
last week about that.
Yeah, you're talking to someone who spends more time driving between and to clients than I spend with clients in a day. And I'm laughing at it going, and I'll tell you one thing. I've not taken a raise in 6 years. I've not increased my prices in 6 years. I got called out by a company this week for saying, well, you charge too much to begin with, and you always have.
Oh, fuck.
And it's okay. And I won't ask for another raise. What I will do is look for alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
So people are gonna think this all through. Like you start having to pay $2 a liter for gas, and you're now going to be driving back and forth to work now because that's what they're asking for. Everybody start to come back to the office now because we're no longer in lockdown mode. Then you add in back to regular kid life and kid activity. So kids get back to sports. Now you're again in the vehicle and driving. How fast do you think we're going to start to see ourselves go underwater? Like literally.
It's only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm happy where Natasha works from home and I work. It takes me 5 minutes to drive to my work from where we live.
Right.
So I benefit from that.
We can stay in Walmart parking lots for free, can't we?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. We
And
could be
Canadian Tire
Walmartians.
too, I think.
You and I could be
And where?
Walmartians.
I think you can stay in Canadian Tire parking lots too, if I'm not wrong.
Tim and I, listen, for full transparency, Tim and I are the poster children of trying to think outside the box to get ourselves ahead. I mean, we sold our house in Oakville. Think about this. We sold our house in Oakville. We downsized. We moved on to this property we're on right now. We rent here from our dear friends. We got a very, very nice deal to do this. So we're lucky on what we got put here. We bought a condo in Toronto to help our kids out because both of them work in Toronto, and it was cheaper for us to rent here and help them. So we own a condo in Toronto. They're living there. We rent here. We bought a rental property in Sabo Beach. That rental property, that all the expenses that go along with that rental property, those are write-offs. So when you're looking at real estate, if you're looking at just your home you live in, that home is 100% expense. It's an expense line in your family's financial statement or balance sheet. Where what we do, where we live, our expenses are very low because we rent here. We don't. If a tree falls down, that's my girlfriend's problem. It's not our problem. And if a tree falls down at our Sabo location, it's our problem, but we can write that off because it's an income producing asset. It's a different way to think about things. But so here's the dilemma. Like, what the heck do you do when properties are overvalued now, and even where you can go to rent is overvalued? But we have to all start thinking outside the box. So Tim and I are like, okay, so what does this look like? Maybe for a short while till this corrects. Maybe we do look at, I know everybody's laughing about a van, but we've been looking at tiny homes, that sort of stuff.
Is there any like 4-season trailer parks in your area? Because we have one here. We have one here, and it's actually really nice. Because you build on around your RV or your trailer, right? So you don't even know. It just looks like a smaller house.
Right. Well, I think that van life, as we'll call it, or even tiny house, whatever the case is. I mean, we can speak to this, and I know that there's probably people in the community and here tonight that go, that's not going to work for me, and I know, I get it, because it's just Nancy and I, right, and a dog, and everyone has their own circumstances. But I guess part of our successes has been that we've always done things that we've had to do. They're not comfortable.
No.
But when the sore gets better and it stops stinging from the Band-Aid rip, a couple of years down the road, we come out much better. And,
well, yeah, you guys could get a membership at the YMCA. There's your showering right there, right?
Well, truck stops.
No,
they're
just
free, right?
park your van down by the river.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Honestly, I know it sounds crazy. We're just trying to think of all the possibilities, and we don't feel we're so entitled in life that we're not willing to sacrifice to try to get ahead. And we always look at it like it's an adventure. And, I guess it's that whole needs versus wants. And we're in our 50s. Do I want a nice, cozy little place? I do. I feel like I've got it here now. But it's all in your perspective. And right now, it's just a horrible, horrible time to try to buy something when I really feel like the market, the economy, everything is just so uncertain. To Ryan's point, I don't want to be the loser that buys at the end of this and then is stuck with overinflated property.
These times that we're going through now are not normal. If you were in a normal recession, it would be a normal recession. Don't forget that we're looking at recession-like times potentially, but on top of that, we have this black swan event. On top of that, we have just 2 years of that crap that we've just come through. These are not normal times, right? So people sometimes when it starts, when the stress and everything starts to lighten up, will make quick knee-jerk emotional decisions, and it's like that's because they get a good feeling and stuff like that, and that's the emotional part of it. And it's like, oh, hang on, guys, think about this a year or two down the road, and you may not want to live like that or have to be on a financial train like that for a year or two. But trust me from experience, stick to your guns and keep the purse strings tight for a couple more years, because you will come out much, much, much better.
And here's the other thing. And again, this is really personal. We don't really talk about I don't think personal stuff too much, but we work really hard to not have a lot of consumer debt. So the debt we have is attached to an income producing asset. So we own our cars. We do not have leased cars. We own our cars. So I don't have a car payment. Do you know things like that? We don't carry credit card debt. I think we said this as something last week, was we only have a credit card limit enough that I can pay it off in one paycheck. Doesn't mean I do necessarily. I'll wait till the time of the month and then we pay it off. But we don't have a credit card that we could go into crazy debt on, because it's easy to do that, right? We don't carry consumer debt, and that is a big thing. So we're financially set up and poised, and we've been pre-approved by the bank to get a mortgage if we wanted to go buy a place right now. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like what Ryan said. It doesn't make sense right now to do it. So we're in a really weird position. We've left ourselves open to this, obviously, but anyways, it's about thinking outside the box. And I have to be near my office. I have to be near the clients I serve. I have to be near the airport. So I'm trapped a little bit from being in the GTA. And so it's a real conundrum. But we're going to think outside the box, and maybe we will record what we're going to do, our next move. You never know. You might find us getting one of those motorhomes and living in Walmart. Who knows?
No, living in the parking lot. We're not going to live in Walmart. They'll
We'll
put us to
become
work.
Walmartians.
Funny
Ryan,
thought.
you're being overly quiet. Candace, you're being quiet.
Now, I have a funny thought. I mean, do you remember back in 2020, all of those memes that were coming out about how horrible 2020 is and how time travelers would be like, oh, dear God, I went to 2020. Now I'm waiting for the memes that are saying 2020 wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Or shoot, I should have bought a house in 2020.
Yeah.
Who knew? Yeah. So Ryan's not saying anything. Ken's not saying anything.
I'm
Have
just
we shocked
listening.
you?
I was just listening.
What?
Ken, you're always out of it.
Ken, you had a rough day, buddy? You had a long day?
Yeah, I had a long day, but it's all
Yeah,
good.
you can tell.
Ken is like those old men at the Muppets. He just sort of sits there and every so often goes,
I used to say that about this guy too.
I started off this morning driving 2 hours to pick up a toilet to drive 2 hours back. So there was the first 4 hours of my day, just
That
driving.
seems
Holy jeez.
inefficient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
So I know we've been talking for almost an hour and 40 minutes. We've had lots of heavy duty topics tonight. I actually don't think it's all bad out there. I think we need data points, and we need to keep talking together as a community so we can keep our heads clear and forward thinking, and we'll have to help each other not go crazy and do, like, it's in these conversations that help us to frame up the thought process by which we go forward in life,
I agree with Stephanie because at the end of the day, whoever sells out and bails right now, you're going to lose. You're going to be a friggin' loser. Okay. And you're going to come back crying in a year from now and want to join the community. Like, you're going to be a loser. Flat out. And I mean financially, because selling out at the bottom is fucking nuts. I mean, whether it be crypto or stocks, we bought stocks that we believed in a year ago. So what's the difference now?
I still hold my Satama, man.
Okay, well, I didn't hear what you said. Sorry, buddy.
I still hold my Satama, right? After everything that's been said and done with
this
that,
is the thing,
right?
you know, and how long does it take a newbie usually to realize this? Too long. Sorry, guys, I'm cracking a brew. Too long, but cheers. But this is the thing, guys. Like, whoever bails early, at the end of the day, you always lose. You lose. You're gonna be a loser. I can't save you, and neither can the Danters. You lose. Okay. So you buy companies, you buy crypto you believe in long term, and this is an opportunity to buy them at 60, 70, 80% off. Beyond that, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, housing market's the total opposite. Stock market is down. Housing is up. I mean, this is all a financial cycle. Where you put your money is another thing, but
it's going to be interesting. I'm with all of this going on, I don't want to wish the end of the year, but it's going to be, I'm intrigued to see where we stand, those of us in the DCA challenge at the end of this year.
I really still believe I'm going to see some cheap Bitcoin.
I believe I'm predicting that I may, well, depending on the price of Bitcoin, but I may have a 1/10 of a Bitcoin.
Well,
at the end of the year?
Okay, my gut question. Who here thinks Bitcoin's going to go up when the economy inevitably hits recession? Genuine question.
I honestly don't know.
I don't care about TA. Just a common sense question. Let's just be fucking real. It's going down, right?
What would gold do?
Gold? Okay.
In a similar
you want me to compare it to the last recession?
No. You asked if a recession's coming, right? What's Bitcoin going to do, right? So my counter question to that is same question, but take out Bitcoin, insert gold. What would gold do?
Okay, easy. Both are going to drop catastrophically, but gold will recover way faster. And I mean fast. Look at 2008. Look at 2018. Gold will you own silver. Good for you. You know I own. I texted you the other day. Look, I mean, I don't do a lot. I don't mention it to my channel very often. So many are like, wait, you hold bars of silver? It's like, yeah, fuck. But I mean, look, that is going to do that's a store of value. Can anyone here deny that? I mean, look, it might not go up, but it doesn't go down. Like, that's a store of value. So your gold and silver is not going to mimic Bitcoin whatsoever. I know Bitcoin might be gold, digital gold. Let's be real, though. This little spike off of the S&P 500 is the only time in the last 6 months Bitcoin's deviated more than I was looking at it today, a few percent off of the S&P 500 correlation. Like, what do I think is going to happen with gold? I think I'm going to be way happier with gold during an immediate recession, like flat out. I think that 3 months after the recession, let's even say 1 to 3 months after, I think I'm going to be crying in happiness that I hold gold, or not gold, but gold miners and then silver stock or silver. Okay. Gold miner stock, silver bars. I think I'm going to be really happy in the short term. Bitcoin is just not going to rebound as fast as gold. Think about just the industry. I mean, there's how many people are actually into Bitcoin right now? Sorry, Tim, go.
On the boomerang out of the recession, who has the better return on investment, Bitcoin or gold?
Over what time frame, Tim?
On the boomerang, I don't know. Whatever.
Well, you have to establish a time frame, because if I go with Bitcoin or silver, there's an opportunity cost with both.
So the recession. So how long would a recession last?
A recession would probably last between 18 and 24 months.
Okay, so call it 36 months, 3 years, right? Who boomerangs out better with a return on investment?
I would say that the better speculative investment is Bitcoin. And I would say that the better store of value is gold.
Okay.
That's my gut feeling. I think I'd make more money on Bitcoin, but I think store of value, safety, security. I mean, 2025 is not going to bring the world off of gold. It's just not. So I still think that, for me at least, sorry if people disagree, I'm not trying to be forceful or whatever, but like for me, I think I'll make more money on Bitcoin, and I think I will be 10 times safer in gold. And I think that's extremely fair for me to say.
It's absolutely.
People may disagree with me, but that's what I mean, I've owned silver for forever, and silver's the one thing you can consider gold similar, but has never ever in my life done me wrong. Never once.
And I can't, and I'm not calling you right. I'm not calling you wrong. What I would say if someone asked me what my opinion was, is that these gold and Bitcoin are being tested in circumstances they've never been tested in before.
Agreed.
So the only way to know what's going on is to see what happens in, let's call it 36 months.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
We'll all be experts at predicting what happens.
Either that or we'll be in a permanent
hindsight.
fetal position.
Sucking
Sam,
our
can you
thumbs.
pass me a new straw?
Candace, what do you think about this?
Well, I was trying to sort of say a little bit earlier, the way I kind of approach the whole thing is I tend to be very positive, and I don't want people to sort of mistake that for being naive, because I have contingency plans for when the crap hits the fan for everything. You know, I just don't want to waste my energy worrying about something. I'll have a plan if it happens, but I'm going to keep my mental energy in a positive state of mind as I'm moving forward. So that's kind of the way I look at it. And as for a recession, we've never seen what happens with Bitcoin in a recession. I mean, we do know in recessions, pretty much everything is going to go down. Ryan's right on that point.
Yep.
Bitcoin is not yet a store of value. It's potentially will be a store of value, but it's not there yet. So if a recession happened, even within the next year, sure, gold is probably going to be your solid store of value, less risky. But when you go from one side of the recession to the other side of the recession, I think there is a bigger potential to make more money with the Bitcoin. But you got to be willing during that recession to be looking at some very small numbers and not give in to all of the the FUD while you're in that recession, because it'll be so tempting. It's like you'll feel like you've lost everything.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be money that you can afford to sort of just put aside during that event, because if you liquidate it, you are losing then big time.
Agreed.
That's a fact.
Agreed.
Cool.
All right. Well, Candace, you want to give us a little lowdown of what you got coming up on your channel this week?
Sure.
I know you got lots of videos and shorts going on.
Yeah, I've got shorts coming up. Well, I got a short comes out every day. Today I dropped a video on taxes and dividends. So, if you want to know how that's going to affect your dividend, if you want to know about the Canadian tax credit, Canadian foreign dividend tax credit, I got all of it on my thing today. Speaking of taxes, on Saturday night live stream, Nate's joining me on our tax live stream. So it's going to be a lot of taxes. Bring all your tax questions, and the two of us will hit them out of the park for you. And then, of course, Sunday, Metaverse live stream on Twitch, and we'll be playing. Looks like it's going to be the Sandbox. And
Nice.
much better than that DFL thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Ken, what you got going on this week?
Same old, same old.
Well,
Talking
can
shit
I?
and taking names.
No, can I ask you? Can I ask you a quick question? And maybe this is opening a can of worms. Did we ever get things resolved with our?
Nick, you're
With
opening
our-
a can of worms.
with
Stop.
our-
Yeah.
Stop.
No, it's all good. Andrew may be back and he may not. That's totally up to him.
Oh, he's gonna be back. He got a hold of me. He told
totally
me
up to
everything
him.
I need to know. So basically, this guy is very happy that I had his back, and needless to say, he's coming back to Ken's live streams. Okay, everyone can relax. Andrew,
Good.
will
I've got
be
some new
back.
material for him.
He
Well,
will be back.
I don't know whether I'll let him in or not. He's been
Oh,
making,
what?
He's been making videos of me, making fun of me, sending them to my wife.
That's the
So
point.
Here's the
maybe if I go over there, punch him in the dick first, then I'll let him in. We'll see.
Holy bonanza!
Oh,
But here's the thing I love about Andrew. Every time Andrew tells a joke, I appreciate Tim's humor even more.
Oh my God. This is why Andrew's struggling with.
We'll probably
Oh.
see him on Friday. He did go fishing, apparently. He has a story.
Yeah, his story's bullshit. I'll tell you flat out. I read through
I
that
know.
in
He's
about
like
2 seconds,
I
but he's
pooped
ready
in
to
the
come
fishing
back.
hole.
No, he's ready to come back.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
Of
so
course
if
he
none
did.
of you, if anybody that's watching has not been to Ken, the freaking Oracle's live stream on Friday night, it is
Long.
unlike
It's
anything.
long.
It's long. Enjoy.
They've
if
been
you
short recently. They've been
no,
shorter.
if you have
Yes,
nothing
they have.
else to do on a Friday night and you want to giggle, my
Mhm.
goodness, I have seen brawls between all these guys. They all it's hysterical, and sometimes
but it's also open camera and open mic, so anybody
right.
can come on.
Yeah,
Anybody
it's
can
live
come
without
on.
a net.
Including Andrew.
including Andrew, who we
Andrew.
love. Andrew, everybody
Romance
loves
is
Andrew.
alive. We'll keep it going.
Anyways, sometimes Tim and I come from our room. We call it pillow talk. We put all our freaking pillows on the bed and we sit and talk, sitting cross-legged on our bed. So it's a completely different experience than this. And that's on Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday night and Monday night and Tuesday night and whenever Ken feels like putting a live stream on.
Every
But
day,
primarily
basically.
Friday and Saturday night is anyways. And so Ryan, you've got your usual live streams coming up. When are you
I don't even know what's
migrating?
going on this week. I've had way more work with the fam than I would have thought. So for anyone, I mean, I don't know whoever's here or whatever. While I'm in Ottawa, if I got family stuff, I'm not going to be on my live streams. So I'm going to be in Calgary, home base, Monday, and we rock and roll. Simple as that. So if you guys stick with me until then, we can rock and roll. But beyond that, I mean, it's hit or miss. And that's the only thing I'm going to say. Yeah, it's dogs. I'm dealing with dogs. Yeah, it's only dogs. Give me a break. Anyway, yeah, okay.
They are family members, not just dogs. They are
That's
family members.
They're
Right.
not.
No,
I
it's
think-
not
I
just
think-
dogs. But if we're going to talk about these dogs, for God's sakes, one of these dogs is a sweetheart. You know that 19-year-old pug, Sarah? So she's about 1,000 human years old. I don't know how she's still alive. She's a fucking wizard. Or, you know what? This is after show stuff. Anyway, it was so amazing seeing you guys here. Thanks,
Oh my
folks.
gosh. I know. I just love it. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Candace, thanks again so much for all the effort you put into the Metaverse stuff. I very much appreciate it. I know the crew appreciates it. For everybody still watching, all 45 of you, thank you so much for sticking it out for this long and letting us talk about all the amazingly weird and wonderful things going on in the world right now. If you are finding value of this, Tim and I are so close to 1,000 subscribers.
Well,
I
okay,
think
I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to keep doing this, okay? So I mentioned I did a specific post on my channel right before you went live. I'm going to keep doing it every time before you guys go live. We're getting to 1,000 subs, or we're going to die here, okay?
we're gonna die trying.
Yeah, we're gonna die on this hill. So I don't care if I have to push you guys in every video or live stream. Maybe you guys are gonna sponsor my live streams, and I'm just gonna have your channel name there. Subscribe to Tim and Nancy, because I can't deal with it. If you guys are at 1,000, I'm gonna lose my mind. So yeah, we gotta get them to 1,000. Damn it, guys! We have 42 people here.
Genuine. We'll do some giveaways at some point. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll figure out a giveaway. Maybe you can give out a driving lesson or two.
Are you off your rocker?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's right.
Say goodnight,
You guys are all awesome. Have a good night. Signing off.
There's a dog on a log looking at a